Dried cherries can store very long, but there are only a few recipes in the 18th century how to try cherries without sugar, and we're looking on one of them today. Why was trying cherries or the preservation of fruits and food so important in the 18th century? This is very easy explained. The living in the 18th century was totally different like the living today. Today we can go in the grocery store and buy fresh fruits everywhere, every time, the whole year. But back then you haven't a grocery store with all the fruits that we have today. More special, you have your fruits in the summertime, but if you want to eat fruits in the winter, or the ingredients of the fruit there is for a good health, you need to preserve them for the winter. This is the reason why we have so many preservation recipes in these cookbooks. And I want to find out how the people lived back then, and this is why I make so many recipes and preservation now in the summer with the fruits around me, that I can find out how the people eat in the winter, that I can use this what I now preserve for the recipes in the winter. And one thing more, I want to make pemmican very soon. And pemmican was a survival food you have produced back then with sugarless dried berries. And this is why I want to try the cherries without sugar to make this recipe very close like the Native Americans have done this. The recipe today came from the cookbook from Mary Ellens. She was a cooker for the Majesty Queen Anne, and this cookbook came from 767, and I will read the recipe to you before we start. To try cherries without sugar, stone the cherries and set them on the fire without only what liquor comes out of them. Let them boil up 2 or 3 times, shaking them as they boil. Then put them in the earthen pot. The next day scald them, and when they are cold, lay them on a sieve and dry them in the oven, not too hot. Twice heating an oven will dry any sorts of cherries. This recipe needs 2 days of work, and this is why I want to start fast. First, I collect so much cherry that I want to try, and I collect the cherries very short before they are ripe, because the shell is a little bit more harder, and I hope it will make a little bit better dry cherries than the soft shell cherries. They are full ripe. Then stoning every single cherry. Now I put my pot on the fire and put in all of my cherries and let them heat up until they are boiling. After the first boiling, I take off the cherry from the fire, let them cool down, and put them on fire again to boil them again, and do this twice. Now I take the cooked cherries and put them in the pot to let them cool down for the next day. One day later, and I have cooked the cherries again in this pot and let them cool down. And now we go to the next steps. First, I put all the cherries in a sieve, and the moisture should go through in the earthen pot below, and the cherries are held back on top. And then I put everything a cherry on his own place on this big sheets, and I will use a modern oven. In the recipe is written 2-time heats will dry every cherry, and I think the meaning is back then they have used earthen oven and they heat them up, and until it started cooling down they put in the cherries, and the time the cherries can't burn anymore, and let them cool down total. And I can't do this because I don't have a earthen oven, and I will do everything so correct I can do like the history correct way. But now I can't do this and use a modern oven, put in the cherries and dry them there by a very low temperature, and do my best and the next time too to go historic correct with every recipe what I do. This is the only solution I can do today, and I need the dry cherries, and because of this I use the modern oven with a low temperature to dry the cherries. I don't will do this again in the oven. Why? I tell you, but in this time I put all the cherries together. To dry the cherries have taken 3 days in the oven. I have do this in the oven for some hours, then put them out again and leave them for the night, and in the day I have put them again few hours, and in total 3 days, because it was raining like cats and dogs 3 days long outside. Not normal for summer in this region, but it happened what happened. And I used between 120 and 160 degrees. And now I put all cherries together in the sieve, and they are very good shaped cherries, and there are more broken cherry, and I mixed all them together because I want to use them in another recipe very soon. And these cherries because I cook them over fire, have a smoky taste a little bit, and it's good for other recipe for this YouTube channel. You will see this very soon. But anyway, you can make this recipe at home by yourself. You can put them in the oven, or what you can do also, use an air fryer and try your cherries, and you can store them very long without a fridge. But if you have fresh cherries, I recommend you, if you have the time, to make this cherry pie here. This is a really nice, good dish, very easy to do, and your guests will love them, because also it is a historical recipe with a very good taste.